Kansas City Chiefs 29, New York Giants 9. 20. What did I say? 22-9 was the score. Kansas City avoids their 0-3 at first, the only 0-3 start of the Reid era. That's what it would have been.
And most importantly, keeps my survivor pick alive. I did the right thing. I got rid of the Chiefs. I used them, and I got the win, and I get the hell out of there, and I never have to worry about Kansas City winning again.
Let us know in the chat if you took the Packers in Survivor.
I think that it doesn't seem to update, I don't think, until the whole week games is done, but I feel like we lost quite a lot of people with the Packers.
Lost a lot of people.
With the Packers and the Carolina Atlanta game.
You lost Harry in Survivor because he took the Packers.
Yeah.
And he was sad. He was very sad watching these games yesterday. By the way, I've created a monster in Harry who, he's in the middle of doing chores, right? His mom's like, "Hey, my wife, hey, you gotta vacuum, right?" And I see him. He's got my wife's phone, holding the phone with the quad box.
Yeah.
While he's vacuuming yesterday.
Yeah.
Monster.
Wait till it the blocked kick, and he's like, son of a. Slamming the phone on the floor. That's when you know.
Oh, I hear some screaming, because he'll be downstairs. So sometimes he's watching with me. Sometimes he's downstairs. I got my other kids watching. A lot of screaming going on, no matter what's going on. But he's out of Survivor. It's the Packers.
I think we lost quite a lot of people yesterday, but it hasn't updated me with the numbers yet.
I took the Seahawks, so I'm still alive. You took the Chiefs. You're still alive. 22-9. It was 6-6 just before halftime. Mahomes threw a prayer. They got a 50-yard pass interference, made it 9-6 at the half. An ugly first half, and then the Chiefs pulled away in the second half. A couple big plays with the pass game down the field. Tyquan Thornton game, man. One touchdown for Thornton. Had a second one that was just about in the end zone. Also dropped one there, but he's become a pretty big threat for the Chiefs because whether he's catching the ball or not, he had the great contested catch to set up their last touchdown. But he's behind the defense once or twice per game.
Yeah.
And he's been a big pickup for the Chiefs here.
I mean, it was kind of like the difference in the game was almost the sort of difference in variance between the just prayer,
the
deep shots.
Balls, yeah.
Now, okay, Mahomes, you could argue, did more to sort of manufacture a one-on-one, winnable deep shot a couple of times. But he threw the ball up ineffectively as a prayer a couple of times. One got a big defensive pass interference penalty, which, people debated. I thought it was fair enough. Another got a big Tyquan Thornton catch. Almost had another Tyquan Thornton catch, but the ball came out once he hit the ground. Meanwhile, Russ is tossing up prayers all day, and none of his receivers are doing anything about it. Okay, you can debate, do you want to toss up a prayer to whatever it is, 5'8", 180-pound Wan'Dale Robinson? But we know that it's not always about size when it comes to being a good deep ball target. It's about adjusting to the football and attacking it. And he did not adjust or attack the ball at all. The defender did. Same thing is true with Malik Neighbors down the sideline. He tosses up literally a sort of 50-50, giving a guy a chance to go make a play ball. And Neighbors doesn't even move towards the ball, backs up, and the DB goes and gets it. It's look, if you want to be Malik Neighbors, if you want to be the alpha guy and the playmaker for this offense, and you've got to go at least contest that catch.
I thought that was a little weak on Neighbors' part. Richard Sherman suggested Russ was a little late with it. I think both are true.
Yeah.
He could have gotten rid of the ball earlier. I thought Neighbors, though.
I'm not saying any of those passes
that was
were
a stop and jump and go get it. We used to, when we were grading for PFF, we used to have to debate what a jump ball, if it's a legitimate jump ball, the defender should win that versus is it underthrown? We used to have to debate those things. I felt like that was a pure jump ball.
I'm not saying any of these passes were spectacular by Russell Wilson, but I will say this is what Russ is bringing to the table in this offense right now, which is I'm going to put the ball in the air with a lot of air under it, and I'm going to give you guys chances to go make plays. It's like Jets era Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? That dude was lobbing up YOLO balls to Brandon Marshall all season long. And it's Brandon Marshall is either going to have the year of his career because of the opportunities Fitzpatrick is giving him, or he's going to get beaten at the catch point by DBs all season long, and it's going to be miserable for everybody involved. It's high variance. It's not necessarily good, but it is giving these guys the chance to make plays. And if they're not going to make plays, they're not going to win games. So, Russ didn't exactly cover himself in glory, but I don't think he was helped out by his receivers.
I think the Chiefs are a better team, despite both teams coming in at 0-2. Giants missed some opportunities. Some of their red zone play calling, they had a 3rd and 4 keeper to Russ they had Russell Wilson on a first off, he had an intentional grounding call, which I think they invented.
Well, it's not a call that's usually made.
It's not usually made, right? So it's
toss the ball right over a guy's head out of the back of the end zone.
So
when is that a penalty?
I'm curious what you think of that, right? So you've got like a little stick route on the goal, say the front of the goal line. Russ is in the pocket. Everybody's at the front of the goal line, I believe, on that play. And he throws the ball about 10 feet over everyone's head and into the stands. Everybody knew he was throwing it away, right? But theoretically, it went directly over the head of an eligible receiver. And so, again, I feel like we reinvent the intentional grounding calls every single year.
I don't see that. I don't remember seeing that call before. Like, that's a routine throwaway. There's a debatable receiver in the area, as in it goes right over his head. Okay, it goes 10 feet over his head.
And
but
you knew that he was throwing it away, but he threw it over the head of an eligible receiver, which has always been legal.
You've always been allowed to toss the ball out of the back of the end zone over a dude's head. Like this, I haven't seen that call before.
I detest the new interpretations of intentional grounding because the league is trying to protect the quarterback. And intentional grounding is trying to avoid a hit on the quarterback. And so there's no need to reinvent the rules. Even though I knew Russ was throwing it away, he threw it over the head. Like, what if he's just inaccurate? I've seen quarterbacks overthrow guys by him. Like, what if Anthony Richardson's just going to overthrow a guy by 10 yards under pressure? We're like, it's grounding. It's like, no, I'm Anthony Richardson, man. Sometimes I miss by 10 yards.
Just that bad.
You know? I know Russ was throwing it away, but, like, you kind of lose. I don't know. And then they come – so they're backed up, and then they go, like, QB draw. Had some rough red zone reps in there. So Russ finishes 5 yards per attempt, 2 picks, 43.8 passer rating. Cam Scattaboo, though, ingested some life into the Giants. He had a touchdown run in there, 6 yards a pop, and led the team with 61 receiving yards. Hey, guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that. Hit that subscribe button, and now let's get back to the action.
I mean, he's just fun to watch. He's fun to watch. He's fun to be around as well. If you watch the video of Brian Daboll during the week where Scattaboo's just walking through the building screaming, he's just a giggle.
I love that. Daboll's like,
24/7.
It's Scattaboo.
Yeah, and he's just like, wow.
You need that guy on your team.
Yeah, like randomly. He's like, and Daboll's like, it's every day. Every day he's like this, just walking through the building, like screaming, whoa! Just great.
Giants were.
He's like that on the field as well. Like he's just. The dude legitimately injects some energy into the team.
He's
because
not Mike
like,
Allstott, but he does run through contact quite a bit. Graham Gano, the kicker for the Giants, was questionable right before the game with a groin injury. He came in to kick one short field goal, but he was limited.
This is an element to this game that was kind of interesting. The Giants basically couldn't attempt a kick. And there was one drive where George Karlaftis gets roughing the passer on third down. And that's that ends up being like a 6-point screw up because they score a touchdown. The drive gets extended. They score a touchdown. Okay, they can't make the kick because they don't have a kicker. So it ends up only being a 6-point mistake instead of a 7-point mistake. But like, dude, have some situational awareness here. They cannot attempt field goals at the moment. And you're giving them an extended drive by roughing the passer on third down. They would have had to punt that ball or attempt a ridiculous 4th and long. That's very, very foolish. So you have this weird situation where they probably can't attempt field goals at all. They end up later wheeling Gano on to attempt, one from 25 or something. And he made it, was in intense pain immediately afterwards. And now I'm like morbidly curious how far they're going to give him the shot from. Like, okay, he can make it from 25 just in pain. How far out are you willing to give that a go? Like, are you going to give him that shot from 35, from 45? Like, if the game had stayed close enough, I was kind of curious to see just what situation they would give Gano a shot from. Because, I mean, the punter, Jamie Gillen, had one effort. He's left-footed. So, number one, everything's opposite. Number two, he's also the holder.
He's the holder.
So, Gunnar Olszewski has to come in, hold for a left-footed kicker. The whole thing's off, right?
This is why punters aren't always kickers because they're often the holder. I mean, it's like a whole ordeal.
And
I could have sworn Scattaboo could have kicked that.
And that's independent of whether or not he can kick in the first place. Either way, they attempted one kick. It was a disaster, and they're like, we're probably not doing that again. So the option was Gano hobbled, trying to attempt to kick. Didn't end up being a thing because the Chiefs, went away, and it wasn't close enough for it to matter. But that would have been pretty fascinating had they kept this as a close, one-score kickable game.
Two other things I just wanted to note in this game. Coming off a week where Russ just kept throwing the ball down the field and creating some big plays, seam routes to Wan'Dale Robinson, go balls to Malik Neighbors, going up against Spags' defense, who's usually blitz heavy, third down, they're going to come after you, and they're going to make it a low percentage downfield shot, but it's at least one-on-one. And Spags barely blitzed in this game, about 15, 16% of the time. Rare Spags game where he just said, and I think it was the right move. It's what I love about football, is sometimes you just get this completely different game plan that's not even in line with what you do previously. Spags does not come after Russell Wilson. He's like, all right, I'm going to make you dink and dunk down the field, take the short stuff. And Russ, that's never been his game, right?
Right.
This is like, once the league generally said that, Russell Wilson's production went down because he wants to throw, he wants to make these big plays. And it was like a couple dink and dunk here and there. And it's like, I got to force one. You got the itch. He had to throw the moon ball. He had to throw them up, and it just wasn't working. So you got the 2 picks in there, and you just low percentage plays again for the Giants. And I thought that was really well done by Kansas City's defense. And then the other thing was the 2 Mahomes plays where he throws the ball backwards. Yeah. He had 2 backwards laterals.
What are we doing?
Now, did you see the second one in particular? Pacheco is like
facing the wrong
retreating
direction,
backwards and facing the wrong way. I feel like he releases like that sometimes, and I don't know if it's by design. I don't know what it was.
I don't know what he was doing on that play. I don't know that it really matters. It's not a good – it's a panicked, weird throw from Mahomes anyway.
It's late, and it's behind, and it's
kind of fired at him.
Into the dirt.
Yeah.
And so we used to joke.
Like the first one was ridiculous. The first one was like a bullet laterally.
Yeah.
And I think he got a bit unlucky on that one because it was supposed to be a sort of pass, and it ends up being fractionally behind, and that makes it a live ball, et cetera. The second one was more reasonable in terms of he understood where the guy was and knew immediately it was a backward pass, and that's where the problem arises. He also, by the way, made the best defensive play of anybody in this game on that play.
Yeah.
Like, it was a ridiculous pass. It gets turned over. The guy scoops it up. Mahomes tracks him down and strips it from him. Like, forced and recovered his own fumble, doesn't get the credit for it because they say, oh, he didn't have it long enough for it to be possession. But he did. He had possession of that ball, and Mahomes took it away from him. That was the defensive player or the defensive play of this game. It's just a shame that it was fixing his own mistake.
That was in a 6-6 game, I believe, when that happened.
That would have been huge.
The Giants would have walked in for a touchdown potentially there. So it was a terrible play by Mahomes, and then a great play to just recover it and fix his mistake.
Yeah.
But that panic backwards lateral play, we used to joke, that was like Kirk Cousins did that a couple years ago. He did it multiple times in his career, where it's like a panic backwards throw, fumble, and Mahomes did it twice in the same game. But yeah, the one he ended up saving it with the fumble recovery. Mm-hmm. I also thought the Giants, we talk a lot about their defensive front, having Thibodeau, Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and then Abdul Carter. I loved the way they played that. They were very much trusting 3-man rush plus Abdul Carter as an add-on rusher, and they would mix up blitzing him versus keeping him as a spy. And as my mind was saying, he's the perfect spy for Mahomes with his speed and track down ability, and he kind of is as far as cutting off angles, but even he succumbs to Mahomes' scrambling ability. And on that, the before the half prayer, Abdul Carter missed the sack, and then Mahomes threw it up, got the 50-yard. Like, that was a big play there. So, look, I don't think it was Mahomes. Like, the passing game has been bad in Kansas City. But for the third straight week, there's just a handful of Mahomes plays that end up becoming the difference in the game, and that was one of them before the half. And even though it's not sinking, Mahomes still makes like enough plays usually to keep his team in it, even though they're only 1-2 right now.
It is kind of fascinating because Mahomes is not playing particularly well at the moment, and he's making some mistakes, and there have been some bad plays in there as well. It is also perfectly fair to point out that this supporting cast and receiving core is pretty bad right now. Like not Dante Thornton. What's his name?
Tyquan
Thornton. Yes, other Thornton. Tyquan Thornton is like almost the main threat that they have right now. And this is a dude that's been run out of bad receiving cores in the NFL for not being worth their spot on the roster. So, like, it's reasonable to say, look, the offensive line is not amazing. The receiving core is terrible, and Mahomes is making the best of a bad situation. And, of course, you're going to see some negative plays in there because that's what happens when you can't trust anybody to make plays all around you. It is also reasonable to wonder at this point, like we are multiple years into Mahomes not playing really like Mahomes. He has not played at the peak of his ability for quite a while now. And last year, nobody cared because they won all the games and they got to a Super Bowl before the whole thing unraveled.
Yeah, before they won the Super Bowl, despite the offense being not great.
It is now a reasonable discussion to have to say, is he just going through a period now where he's not playing at his peak, or is this 100% down to the supporting cast around him being worse than it used to be?
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you're going to blame the supporting cast over the last 2+ years, then you probably have to credit the supporting cast for their gaudy stats, right? To a point, right? Having Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce in their prime is a huge factor in the stats, even though Mahomes was awesome during that time as well.
But the other thing is they can both be true at the same time. Like Nick Wright will presumably be out here saying it's all the supporting cast. Mahomes is still Mahomes. He's still the best quarterback in the NFL. And the second you give some half-decent players around him, you'll see that MVP, superstar, greatest of all time right back in the building day one, right? It's possible that both those things are true at the same time, which is his supporting cast right now is a lot worse than it used to be, but also he's not playing as well as he used to be.
Yeah.
Even independent of that. Like if you adjusted for the supporting cast, he's not playing as well as he used to be. And I don't know which of those three things is true. One, it's all him, it's all the supporting cast, or it's both.
I'll tell you what will be interesting as we just had Tom Brady play well into his 40s. Play well into his 40s. Aaron Rodgers now playing into his 40s. Stafford getting up there, and we think that's changing. If Lamar, Allen, and Mahomes, as they get into their 30s, and they're relying way more on their legs than these other guys.
What if they age like Joe Montana rather than
Well, that's what
Tom
I mean.
Brady?
Like, they're on this pace to be Hall of Famers. Certainly Mahomes, instant Hall of Famer. Lamar's going to be a Hall of Famer. Allen's on pace to be a Hall of Famer. Like, those guys are going to be Hall of Famers. Who knows about Burrow with all his injuries now? Those three will be Hall of Famers. I do wonder. Brady's success after 30 was way better than his 20s. It was incredible. 35 plus. It was incredible. Are they going to hit a wall at 34, 35 that quarterbacks haven't hit in a while? This whole new group of quarterbacks that are relying more on their legs, taking hits, the number of hits that Allen takes, it'll be interesting to see because you can look at paces.
Yeah.
Like the pace for Allen and Mahomes and Lamar is outstanding. And if you want to compare it to Brady, it might look better. But I don't think anybody's going to do what Brady did between 35 and 45 years old, which was out of this world. So that'll be interesting as we, get into all-time, legacy type stuff.
And the one thing that is consistent this year is that Mahomes is using his legs more and putting himself in harm's way more than he has had to in the past because he feels it. He knows that they don't have the margin anymore. This is not a team that can afford for him to protect himself and, not take a hit and not use his legs to scramble. If they do, they don't win the games. He knows he's got to take those plays. And he said it. He's like, I usually save this stuff for January when we really need it, but we really need it now.
Right.
So he's taken more hits this year than he used to.
So two things really quick. The Chiefs needed this win, obviously, to make it to 1-2 to play the Ravens next week.
Yeah.
So pivotal game against the Ravens. They're at home. It's in the 4:25 window. Baltimore plays tonight against the Lions, but a huge game next week for the Chiefs to try to get to 500. And then the Giants 0-3. They still brought in Jackson Dart for a couple plays, and the people are clamoring for Jackson Dart to come in. You know my stance. You got to sit there and suck it up and wait till Jackson Dart's ready.
But
everyone's, just give me Jackson Dart already. I'm just saying, I remember this when Andy Dalton was the starter and Justin Fields was the backup, and just give me Justin Fields already. The NFL fan in me wants to see Jackson Dart. I don't want to see Russ, really. The fan in me wants that. But for the Giants organization, it doesn't matter how bad you are right now. You're supposed to be bad. But when Jackson Dart's ready, you do what's best for Jackson Dart for 2026 when I take over as GM. Don't ruin him for when I take over this team next year.
But isn't it funny how quickly it changes? Like last week, Russ has the big game, a lot of production, and you're like, it's bought him some time.
I still saw people being like, I'm done with this Russ thing. I know he just put up 450 yards, but I still see people being like, done with this.
But generally, your take coming out of that game is, I think that's probably bought him a few weeks. And meanwhile, we're like in the third quarter of this game, and people are like, put in the kid now. I'm sick of this. It's time.
But then you play this game. They got the Chargers now. You want to play the Chargers defense next week? You want to play Spags this week? Do you want to play these good defenses? We didn't predict everything perfectly, but we did predict, hey, the Giants might lose a lot of games early on and have a decision to make. And Daboll's in year 4, and Joe Shane's in year 4, and you got to show some life here. So it might be, is it Jackson Dart time?
Yeah, I mean,
we'll talk about it this week.
Did we get clarification on Andrew Thomas? So he was back in the lineup, and initially it looked great. Andrew Thomas was stonewalling Chris Jones. He was dominating. I don't think he gave up any pressure in the game. And then he goes out, and Marcus Bowe is back in, and suddenly things fall apart a bit on the offensive line. Bowe did not hold up nearly as well at left tackle, and there was debate. Was this a pitch count for Thomas coming back, or did he get hurt again? What was the deal?
He was on a pitch count originally, and I think he got hurt, and that was it. Enough injury to. I mean, that's from what I've seen.
That guy is unfortunately starting to become quite a fragile, brittle, non-reliable offensive lineman, which is really annoying because he's so good when he's out there.
It is. It's unfortunate, but yeah, we say creep back toward average a lot, but one player makes a big difference on the line.
Well, I mean, yeah. Again, there's two sort of things. He's really, really good, and having one of those top 5 caliber offensive tackles is huge, like Minnesota and Christian Darrisaw, very similar dynamic there. That's part of the scales. The other side of the scales is that the guy replacing him is probably not good, and probably very not good. Now, it's maybe different for the Giants because they've got a rookie in Marcus Bowe. Maybe he will be solid, but generally, when you have to go into the bench, most teams do not have like a particularly capable backup tackle or swing tackle. Most teams have trash at the backup tackle spots. And when you have to start trash on the offensive line, you get wrecked, particularly when you're going up against, guys like Chris Jones or whatever. So those are both factors. A guy like Andrew Thomas is so good, I want to see him in the starting lineup. The Giants do not have enough talent that they can have one of their best players not in the lineup on a weekly basis.
No, I agree. And now we have it's more Cowboys data points here. The Giants offense has looked awful in the 2 non-Cowboys games. We'll see if there's a Jackson Dart start in the future here.
We also saw Abdul Carter cosplaying as Micah Parsons even further with the hybrid linebacker off the ball plus defensive lineman deal.
He was playing off-ball linebacker. I love the spy thing, and I think he would be. I think he's good in that mush rush role and spy and pass rush here and there. I like that for the Giants. They just need other things to come together as well.
Brian Burns had a really good game, in large part beating up on Juwan Taylor at times. Dude, what is Juwan? So, okay. Juwan Taylor's become a kind of like a punching bag because he's in primetime games. He regularly gets a false start and or illegal formation penalty. It happened in this game, and he's sort of become such a punching bag for this that NBC had a whole illegal formation graphic ready to go to explain what he's getting penalized for.
It's not great.
That's pretty rough. But then a couple of plays later, he lined up normally, and he looked so bad. Brian Burns just whooped him. It's one of those ones where you're like, this guy doesn't belong in the NFL. Obviously his baseline is not that bad, but he looked so bad on that rep. They're like, how is this guy still in the lineup? Is he hurt in addition to being a penalty magnet, or what is the deal?
How many penalties? I mean, he was never a great tackle anyway, but.
No, but this that rep, I mean, look, it's one rep. Sometimes guys have really bad reps, but that one rep looked like there's no way it could be worse. Jalen Moore's on $15 million a year. He cannot be worse than that rep. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
And the all-knowing algorithm is convinced you'll also like these videos, and who are we to argue?